Minh. Thank you very much for being here and doing this conversation with us. Firstly, on behalf of GLN English Center, I'd like to congratulate you on your really high score, 8.5. It was a really impressive score. And I would like to ask you some questions about your experience reviewing the IELTS. Can you please share with us how much time did you spend on reviewing the IELTS to achieve this high score?
Actually, it hasn't been long since I first started reviewing for the IELTS. And the period of 1.5 months here at GLN was perhaps probably one of the most intensive IELTS review sessions I've ever attended. And during that time, I have managed to find out about GLN and was deeply impressed with the staff and the teachers here, and the way they conduct business was extremely professional. And thanks to them, I was able to focus on my studies, systemize all the skills and knowledge needed for the exam, and luckily got that score.
There is an old saying that he who sees through life and death will meet with more success. So, how did you see through yourself to get your success, especially in the last IELTS exam?
Wow.
It's pretty tough.
It's a pretty interesting question. I don't see myself through life and death. I have never thought of seeing myself through life and death in order to become successful, but I do have certain guidelines and principles that I adhere to in order to achieve my desired outcome. And in the case of IELTS preparation, I try to forget everything. I try to forget all the rules and regulations and all the systematic ways of studying a language. And instead I try to focus my energy on being as comfortable as possible while gaining the best results out of my studies. And that helped me a lot in achieving this score.
Well, writing and speaking are the two skills that most Vietnamese students worry about when taking the IELTS exam. So what do you think about this phenomenon, and what is the solutions to help them get through the difficulties studying these two skills?
I'd say I'll call this my 2 cents. Take it or leave it. If you want to improve your speaking and writing, the first thing you gotta do is you gotta be more creative in your approach to studies, and also you gotta try to come up with new ways to digest the materials. For example, you can practice your speaking by talking to tourists near on the street or near the Westlake, or join a Hanoi social club, as well as many other clubs such as the Hanoi Rock City, where many foreigners usually hang out and chill out with their friends. And that's one of the good ways to practice speaking. And also you gotta come up with invent other new ways to try to get away from your boring routine of opening the book and reading every day. That is extremely unhelpful when it comes to speaking. And as for writing, I have been able to score pretty well during my studies here at GLN, but I was not doing well enough at the writing test 1 and the real test, so I only got 7.0. I hope you guys can really do better than me and achieve an even higher score than me.
Yeah. As for the reading and listening skills, what is the key point in studying to achieve good results in these two skills?
Well, reading and listening are perhaps the two skills that requires the most dedication and passion from learners. If you have a sincere desire to learn English, then reading and listening won't be a problem. In order to really excel in those two skills, you gotta understand all the basics and the fundamentals of the language, and you also have to maintain a prolonged period of concentration that allows you to understand and fully grasp what the speakers are talking about. And it takes practice, and it takes more practice, even more practice as time goes by, because the older we get, the less focused we become when we try to listen to someone. So yes, again, I mentioned the three skills that I talked about before. That is the effectiveness, the interestingness, and the efficiency of your studies. And if you can truly understand what you're studying, how you study it, and why do you have to study, then you won't have a problem attaining a good result in the reading and listening part of the exam.
Can you please share with us about your choice of IELTS Review Center and why did you choose GLN?
As far as I'm concerned, I really enjoy studying here because of not because of those comments that were given, but because I myself, I truly felt that this center is different from the others. Especially the teachers here are extremely helpful and practical in their approach. They give advices that are highly relevant to what I need to success in the IELTS. And I felt that it's much better than many other centers that I've heard.
Can you please give some advices for candidates who are going to take the IELTS test?
I have a lot to say to them as a friend to a friend, and also as someone who had the experience of taking the IELTS to someone who hasn't achieved the desired band score or who has never tried taking it. I cannot give quick fix tips. It's not my style, and I believe it doesn't work. And it's also dangerous to force someone to study the way that others want them to, they're going to have to figure out on their own which way is the best for them by trying all of the ways possible. Actually, I have a story to share. I was able to listen to a very meaningful story by one of my teachers, and the teacher told me a story of her family. Her child was a very stubborn child, hard-headed. He really doesn't listen to her, and whenever she talks, whenever she commands him to do something, he does the opposite. And so one day, she realized that she should change her way of approaching her children. That is, she should give more options for her son to choose from. For example, if she wants her son to brush his teeth every day before 9 p.m., she should not force him to do it, but she should rather give him an opportunity to choose what he wants to do, ranging from small things such as giving him the option to choose between which toothbrush color he can pick, which type of toothpaste he can use. All of that helped her. All of that helped her to let him naturally get into the habit of brushing his teeth every day. And so that is also the story I want to tell IELTS takers. You guys have to give yourself more options and try out all of the available approaches that are being given to you or being provided either by GLN or by useful articles and authors of IELTS review websites on the internet. you have to choose the best one. And if you feel like you are suitable with that approach, then go for it.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. It was a really interesting conversation. I wish you every success in the future.